Okay. Now, since friend A had promised B that he will give a treat of by going to a cafe and having food, and in return, what did B promise? That he will make both of them will have a juice over that particular cafe. So, in other words, indirectly they are making a promise to each other. So, that is nothing but your agreement. Clear? So, an agreement which is enforceable by law. Okay. So here we have completed the first part, that is called as your agreement. Okay. Now next up, here we'll just try to understand what does this definition of the word promise is given as per this Indian Contract Act. Section 2 clause B of the Indian Contract Act defines the word promise as, now when the person to whom the proposal is made signifies his assent. What do you mean by the word assent? Is nothing but your acceptance. Okay, signifies his assent thereto, the proposal is said to be accepted. Proposal when accepted becomes a promise. So going on to the earlier example only, where there were two friends. So obviously when the two friends have discussed that after the class they will go to the cafe and have a treat, where friend A promised friend B that he will give a treat of having food, say for example of a burger, and in return B also promised that he will have a treat, both of them have a treat of sharing the juice. So in other words, both of them indirectly made promises to each other of giving the treat of a burger and a juice. Clear? So when the person to whom the proposal is made signifies his assent thereto, proposal is said to be accepted. Proposal when accepted becomes a promise. Clear? So in this case, again when you try to break up the words, agreement is nothing but what? Offer or proposal plus acceptance. In return there should be consideration. So what is happening is, in case of an agreement, offer is being made, where a friend A made an offer to friend B, where friend B had given his acceptance, and in return what did friend B do? Friend B also made an offer. In that case, friend A accepted that. So in that case, both of them made promises to each other, where there was an offer, there was an acceptance, and there was also something in return in the form of a consideration. So that is nothing but your agreement. Clear? So here we have tried to clearly understand that in case of an agreement, there are two parts, that is offer plus acceptance plus consideration. Now coming to the last part of the definition of the word contract, that is actually the definition was an agreement enforceable by law. Enforceable by law is nothing but what? An agreement, in order to become a contract, must give rise to a legal obligation. Now what do you mean by legal obligation? Just in case where any two persons who have entered into a contract, where either of the party, okay, is not performing his duty, or he is not performing whatever he has promised, then in that case the other party who is suffering because of that particular action can go to the court of law and can file a case against him. Now coming back to our previous example only, we will try to continue and understand whether in that particular example there was this enforceability by law or not. Now since we had continued the example and discussed where there were two friends A and B, both promised to each other that they will have a treat in the evening, but try to interpret the situation of the scenario where friend A got a call from his house, where his mother had told him to directly come to the house after the class because some relatives have come to their house. Now in that case, friend A will tell friend B that he will not be able to give the treat today evening because of so and so emergency at his house. Now in that case, can friend B go to the court of law and file a case against him? No, obviously, right? The answer will be no, because it is not legally enforceable. He cannot go to the court or police station saying that friend A had promised me that he will give a treat, but afterwards he did not give me a treat. Now even though it is an agreement in that case, but since it is not having a legal connection or legal obligation, that will not lead to the contract. Such kinds of agreements are generally called as social agreements. Only those agreements which are enforceable by law, okay, in that case only, where they have a legal obligation related to that, then only it will be called as a contract. Else it will not be called as a contract. Now say simple words. Suppose I have come to the institute to teach the subject called law. Now I have taken the advance payment also, and I have made an agreement in writing with the institute stating that I will teach the entire subject within 3 months of time. But what I have done is, after 1 month of time, suddenly I have disappeared. Okay, now can those institute people try to file a case against me with respect to the legal obligation, stating that they have made a contract where agreement was there, offer was there, acceptance was there, but since I did not perform the entire part with respect to the teaching and all, so in that case, can the institute file a case against me? Obviously, the answer will be yes, because since it was legally enforceable by law, then they have the right to file a case against me. Now, if you try to understand both the examples, first instance was a kind of a social agreement where it was obviously not legally enforceable, and second instance was in the case where the institute can file a case against me for not teaching completely and taking the money and not doing the work completely and all. So obviously that will lead to a social obligation. So only those agreements which have a legal obligation, that is which are enforceable in the court of law, the such agreements are only called as contracts.